Whew, you mean I'm not crazy? This is a good thing, although it wasn't such a great thing.
I took 6 years out of my life. I didn't have any friends. I left all my high school friends. I was a big social guy. I had played soccer and everything. And those 6 years, sometimes I would cry in my room and stuff, but I spent a lot of time getting to know myself.
And everybody for the first few years was, oh, she looks fine. She doesn't look like anything's wrong. She doesn't look like she's hurting. She doesn't look like she's, maybe not all there all the time.
I've seen so many doctors, it's not even funny, and I can't even remember the names. But some of the you go to an ICBC doctor, they say, oh, you're fine. If you go to your own lawyer's doctor, they say, oh, there are problems with you. I mean, can't they send us to somebody that will actually care about, like, what's wrong with us, what problems we have? Because it doesn't seem like there's any doctors out there that really care about what's happening with us and what problems we have.
It's not about you. It's still about the case, It's, I mean, yes, there's care and concern, but it's about the case. It's about the case.
Like when you think about it, when you think about going into a job interview and you tell somebody about your injuries and kind of problems that you may have to start off slow, sometimes, yeah, you do feel bad. Like sometimes you don't even want to bring it up. But us going in by ourselves, it's just kind of a little bit harder for us to just go in. That's when we feel really bad about ourselves.
I felt like I was taking attention away from people that actually really needed help, or really, that I didn't want to be the focus of attention and be the worry all the time with my parents. What about my brother, and what about other stuff that's going on in their lives? Like total guilt the whole way through, but other people too.
I was 39.
I was 18 years old.
I think I was 26.
I was 20 years old.
I was 18 years old.
I was 17 years old.
I was 21 years old.
Exercise. I was out for a run, and I was hit and run by a vehicle.
I was in a vehicle where a family friend of ours was driving, and we were the passengers in the back seat. And somehow the car ended up crashing, and
it was a motor vehicle accident involving a head injury.
I had a parked van, apparently.
I was hit by a car. I was riding my bicycle.
It's been approximately 8 years since the accident happened.
I'm going on to my 27th year this year.
It's been just past 11 years.
since the accident, it's been 9 years.
7, almost 8.
12 years.
My foot was crushed, my leg was broken, my ankle, separated pelvis, collapsed lung, all the other parts, elbows and shoulders. And
both of my arms were broken, my thumb was broken, my jaw was broken.
I had a surgical evacuation in my head, which resulted in me having a coma for 6 days. I had a fractured pelvis as well.
Light physical injuries, but I had a brain injury that was pretty severe.
Mostly soft tissue. Pretty much tore everything on the left side of my body.
For my knees, back, shoulders, elbows.
I had a psychologist, a vocational rehabilitative counselor. I had my lawyer that wasn't really rehab. Numerous other doctors that were paid for by the lawyer, and saw ICBC doctors. I had an OT come to my house twice just for an assessment. My family doctor, and that was pretty much it. And a physiotherapist, actually. I was in Mary Pack Arthritis Center for over a year.
I had help with, like, the kind of service I got was from ICBC. I've had personal trainers. I've had someone come to my house and help me out with problems. I've had other people come around and help me with activities, like stuff that I've never tried before. Other services that I've had is helping with education, job placement. I've also had I went into a brain injury house, and they've helped me with money management, time management, how to live an actual life, to be an adult, and I think that really helped me out.
I think it was hard for them because it's after an accident like that, your body looks okay, and you still talk, and you still seem like the same, but it's harder for them because they can't see what's the real issues.
I experienced just a lot of confusion. People didn't really know what to do. In one system, there was no family counseling, so we had to switch systems of where we went for counseling. But there was no real education to the family.
That's a hard question to answer. You have to ask mainly my parents, the only two looking after me, just trying to figure out what my capabilities and could be, learning the new me.
The impact to my family and my relatives, nobody really knew what was happening. They didn't know what the outcome was going to be, so it was just a big question mark to everybody. Nobody had no education about this at all.
It was tough for them. I went from being constantly funny and the life of the party and always going and always having something to say to a fraction of that. I was always very articulate, could always find the words for everything, and words that people didn't even know, to losing half my vocabulary. Like, they noticed a huge difference, so they started treating me like I was damaged.
The support just wasn't there, and my strangeness was not understood. It was just, I just flailed about and did whatever I wanted and hurt a lot of people in the process.
The injury impacted my family and friends and people I know in such a way that it was very stressful for close family members because they were constantly having to look after me, and friends and relatives. I wasn't the same person. I'm sure that's all that they would think, that I'm just not the same, and I never will be the same.
I was going to school at the time.
I was working at the time as a piercer, but my occupation was actually makeup artist.
My occupation was apprenticing to be an electrician.
I was a grade 11 high school student.
I had a home business. I was a hairstylist, had a business, and I also worked outside of the home doing outside sales.
Yeah, I was going to Cap College. I just started going to Cap College, I remember. I was studying political science.
I feel as though I can do anything, and I really believe that I can do anything, but I am considered not able to get competitive employment.
I haven't found anything out there that allows for my quirky schedule. And when I say quirky, I mean, it could be a really good month, could be a really bad 6 months.
No, I didn't return to work. I tried afterwards, working, teaching, what I did before, but I had nowhere near the patience. I was already, had a problem with authority before the accident. It exacerbated everything.
Yes, I've been employed for about 5 years with the same company, Fountain Tire, and they've been really helpful in understanding with the problems that I too have.
I work as a herbalist assistant at a natural pharmacy, and I'm a yoga teacher at an addictions clinic.
I run 3 businesses. I run a consulting group, which is vocational services and counseling for people in ICBC or WCB claims that are injured. I do a recruitment firm. We do placement for companies and what have you. And then we run a business solutions firm for small businesses where we do web pages, web design, PR work. And then that is an incorporated business. I own all 3 million shares. I'm the sole director at this time.
Yeah, I work part-time now. I work with other brain injury survivors for life skills and coping skills.
Patience, to try to remove judgment. And, you know, if you have to think of that person as your child in order to help you get through helping them learn what it is that they're there to learn, then do it. You know, don't be condescending, but realize that it is relearning. It is totally relearning.
I think that a person with a brain injury would best be suited to get into the workforce with some sort of assistance or some sort of help that does the work and tries to get the person even into something that they can do. Just trying to recover from a head injury is bad enough, but then trying to get employment as well is very difficult.
Adjustments. Just adjusting. Because that's all it, I mean, I think anybody, from what I've learned about brain injuries, is that once people get past the point of realizing that they're not going to be the same as they were, it's adjusting to the things that are different now. So there's always all kinds of, I think, especially with employers, if they actually spend the time to get to know that person, and if that person can identify what their issues are, then that employer or anybody else can help them work around it.
For somebody with brain injury to get into the workforce, I think that we all need help trying to explain to our employers that we do have a brain injury, first of all, and also the problems that we have trying to get into the workforce, and that they should know that we can't really get right into the full swing of everything. We got to take it step by step.
An employer should be able to have an understanding that that we're trying our hardest, and that it takes a little bit of time and it will get better.
I think the employer, most employers will just take anyone that's hardworking. No one will turn away. I have a hard time believing that if somebody is willing to work the hours and put in the effort, that they won't put them to work.
Limit the things they do, have understanding, show them how to cope with things, and just make them successful at little things.
I can't look at people in the eyes for longer than 5 seconds. I have to keep looking away. I have to think about what I say before I say it. I have to actually play it out in my mind before I do. So socially, I'm nothing like I was. Nothing is easy anymore that way.
I miss not playing soccer. That's a big issue for me. It's a huge part of my life, like twice a week or whatever. And I miss sometimes friends, you know. But I work so much, I don't have time for that. I don't know. It's hard to say because it's a different time, right? It's 12 years later. I'm 32 years old, and when you're 19 and 20, I miss my 20s. I wish I had a normal set of 20-year-old life. You know, I miss that portion of my life. People talk about their university days and this and that, and I don't have those. You know.
My physical ability, be able to run, play sports, and memory problems and stuff. But I've missed the physical part of myself. I used to be an athletic person. I'm not anymore. As far as going to college, university, looking for a degree or something, those kind of things. Because I'm unable to take full course loads and stuff because of my sleeping and fatigue problems and memory problems.
I really miss my social life. I miss my social life a lot. Yeah, I was active and busy and volunteered and played sports and ran and, you know, had different people in different areas of my life.
What I miss the most as a result of the accident is the loss of enjoyment of life. feel the reason that I haven't been able to get back into some sort of employment is more because I'm not able to do the kind of things that I like to do, like that I not even half enjoyed doing. I'm sure I could get a job being a cashier or, something like I could work at Walmart or something, but really, who wants to do that after you had that and now you have this?
The biggest barrier, I believe, is that I was left for so long, trying to find my own way. It was my whole life to be a survivor. I worked since I was 14 years of age. I was a hard worker. That's how I knew how to do things. So everything I knew to survive was everything that worked against me.
There was a buffer before, that there was like a cushion inside my head that helped me in a lot of ways, that made me more patient and tolerant, that made me able to rationalize things very simply, that kind of gave me this little airy feel that of all those things I could do, and it feels like that is gone, that I've kind of lost the capacity to do things easily, that everything has become so much more difficult, and not in a way of like I'm not complaining, it's definitely I've adjusted to it, but it feels like it's like walking versus walking in water.
The biggest barrier has been trying to go to school and trying to move my life forward. I've had a lot of memory problems and trying to pay attention in class and stuff like that. So I think the biggest block in my life right now is trying to go to school and trying to have a career in life.
The biggest barrier for me to switch to full-time or to work up to full-time, I think at first was exhaustion. I felt really exhausted, and also fear. I think fear played a big factor. I knew that I had some issues, but I was afraid that they might come up after I committed to full-time.
I guess my fatigue, being fatigued and tired, not sleeping and being rested enough. I've had this problem since 1983, since my injury.
Probably the biggest barrier in the process of returning to work and rehab as a whole was probably the number of people that said you couldn't do something. It doesn't matter if you can do something. The number of times you hear it will affect whether you do it or not. Yes, okay.
I think that a vocational counselor is crucial, not just vital, crucial in not necessarily dealing always directly with the employer, but dealing with the person with a brain injury and coaching them on how to deal with an employer. An employer sees things one way. It is about money. It is about bottom line, the job. If they think that they're not getting the person that's right for the job in any way, shape, or form, then they have no qualms about firing you. If they had an understanding of, okay, well, she's going to be really good at this, but that not a strong point, then they can adjust ahead of time and maybe not give you that type of job or put you in that kind of situation.
That all the insurance company was willing to look after was the physical injuries. And it was probably 4 or 5 years before I met Dean. And that was probably my first honest talk with somebody that let me know that all of the things I was experiencing, all the difficulties I was having in my life were very normal for the injury that I had.
For somebody with brain injury to get into the workforce, I think that we all need help trying to explain to our employers that we do have a brain injury, first of all, and also the problems that we have trying to get into the workforce, and that they should know that we can't really get right into the full swing of everything. We got to take it step by step.
The service that helped me the most was probably the job coaching and the counseling that gave positive reinforcement to the fact that what I wanted to do was, to be successful at what I did, and that was the simple basics of that. The constant reinforcement of that was, as well as Dean as a job coach. And first, I I just had to get a volunteer job on the way because instead of being job placed, I was rather learning the skills for employment. And then I went on and I remember Gene placed me at Mount Pleasant, and then I worked 6 years as a part-time worker in a European Union firm, a large corporation based out of Norway, and then as a software engineer, like never going to university or anything, and I just kind of picked it up at the job site, and then Dean helped me with that, kind of knowing the kind of the emotional intelligence of what to say to someone when you're at work and how to deal with work organizational behavior, it's called. And
The services that helped me is like Dean, he's helped me find a job because the problem with me was I was trying to find jobs and I was in and out because I had some problems waking up and so on. But having somebody there to help you out with finding a job that's suitable for you, that's really great.